When you think about the agrarian history of our nation, everybody used to be connected to farms in some way. It used to be that you either grew up on a farm or your neighbors were farmers, and that connection was very clear, and that's not so clear today. Now we have a lot fewer farms and a lot larger farms, so that level of personal connection really is disappearing. I was a weekly purchaser of fresh eggs at the Morningside Farmers Market, so I was interested and learned more from the farmer about their efforts growing chickens and eggs for the community around here. And then I just, in my job at Georgia Organics, I just came into more contact with chickens and learned that it's not a very difficult thing to do to have chickens.
We actually got our first flock of chickens, ordered them over the internet. They came to East Atlanta post office and they called us up and said they were chipping and cheaping and they wanted us to come get them. Brought them home and we start them off in the basement, which is pretty fun for the kids. They're little fuzz balls and they're pretty cute. And then when they're able to be outside, we moved them outside into the coop here. The kids and my wife all worked on the coop together. So it's just a great family activity, you know. It's fun, the kids like to do it, they can help. It was important to us that as a family we understand where our food comes from and that we participate in creating our food. I think that changes your relationship to what you eat.
It seems that the chickens usually lay around 10, 11 in the morning, and I'll be inside and I'll hear just one chicken just raising the roof, just clucking, and I'll come out, and sure enough, the other one is in the hutch. It's about a 30-minute process for a chicken to kind of go in there and lay its egg and do its thing. And you know, the amazing thing about owning chickens is just pulling that egg out, and the marvel and miracle of the fact that these small birds lay a big egg.
And a chicken will almost lay an egg every day. It's going to depend on how old she is, it's going to depend on the breed of the chicken, and it's going to depend on what they're eating. The chickens are in my yard and they're eating the grass, they're eating bugs, and they're eating little bits of grain that they scrounge for themselves. And then I supplement with an organic non-soy feed. What ends up happening is these chickens produce an incredibly nutritious and delicious egg. Right now I'm going to crack open an egg and you're going to see how yellow it is and how bright it is. And the yolk's very strong. You can see, I don't think you can do that with a factory farmed egg. And I can put it back.
When you are eating fresh eggs every day, you're very conscious of what your chickens are eating. You know, some of these chemicals and hormone additives and those things, anything that you put on your backyard, you start to think about those things, and the food chain gets very short very fast, which is an education in itself. Of course, a lot of people ask me if I eat my chickens, and I don't think personally I could do that since I have a pretty close relationship with them. No, I can't eat my chickens.
Our first flock was mostly for laying eggs. They were layers. But we were interested in raising meat chickens as well. As a meat eater, part of the ethical responsibility is acknowledging what that means. And so I think I'm surprised at the number of people who want to actually come help with the slaughter. I could almost run a whole slaughter without me doing anything. There's so many people that want to help me. And that's pretty great too, that I'm not ostracized as being a freak in the neighborhood.
If you want to have chickens, the first step is talk to your neighbors. Because your neighbors have to be on board with this too. In the city, this is something you share with your friends across the backyard. The other important thing is you need to check with somebody who has chickens. It's good to take a look and see if this is for you. You could try it, but the problem with a baby pool I see would be, well, they can drown because they're dumb as bricks. And it's going to be really messy because they scratch everywhere. Today we've got a group of folks coming over. They're a class sponsored by the Oakhurst Community Garden. It's an introductory class for chicken keeping. It's good to know what you're getting into before you get that box of day-old chicks in your front step.
I got 3 pullets a week ago. My children eat an egg a day each one. I thought why not provide them the best we can and have a pet at the same time?
When you bring in a new bird, pecking order gets disturbed. You can't introduce a chick to an existing flock because that chick will
Turned
get
out
pecked
that I had a lot of questions that the books and the internet did not answer, but I wanted to make sure that I knew how to take care of them and was providing them everything that they needed so that they can be happy and I can be happy.
Believe it or not, chickens are kind of addicting, so 3 ended up being 25. I have more than an abundance of eggs for myself, so I have plenty of eggs left over that I get to sell to my friends and neighbors, and these are, hey Belle, that was an idea I had. Maybe I can get some goats and they'll eat the grass. So.
The chickens were a great way to start. They were easy, they were fun, the kids liked them a lot. What I really wanted all along was to have some goats. Milking goats in particular. Well, there's a lot of light in here today, huh? Unlike the chickens, these 2 does are much more like pets to us, although my goal is still them producing milk for our family. Of course, right after they have their babies, they've got a lot of milk that comes in. My hands just got so sore. These 2 in particular, we would never think about them being meat animals, although their kids we might, because that was part of the process of them being able to lactate in the first place in order to be milkers. And then this is Annie coming out now. We were lucky that we were able to find a guy who wanted to take all 3 kids, all 3 goats. So we had been clear with the children that might be what happens to the kids, but the goat kids.
Goats, I've learned, are very mischievous and curious animals. There was one time where one of the goats got away. I didn't know where she went, and then somebody on the street, a homeless person, actually found her and brought her to me. I have dog collar tags basically on the goats. I've since gone through my fencing and tried to see. I can't figure out where she went through, but I have my suspicions where it was, but I don't know for sure.
We live on a pretty busy street, and people walk by our yard all the time. Then they stop, because all of a sudden there's a chicken there. And it never ceases to make them smile. You know, there's something about seeing that bucolic animal where you just don't expect it that just makes people feel just a little bit better about their day.
It's strange for people to see chickens in an urban environment. That wasn't the way it used to be. I mean, chickens used to be everywhere in our country. And I think that chickens should come back. At Georgia Organics, we like to say that we are about shifting agriculture from commodity-based agriculture to community-based agriculture. And what I mean by that is really rebuilding our local food systems. We have way more demand than supply in this state for fresh, healthy, locally grown food.
More and more, just in the last few years, I think that people are interested in the idea of food that gets produced locally. We got 3 pounds of milk tonight, about what we've been getting lately. Can you do this legally? I mean, yes, in the city of Atlanta, you can have 25 chickens and 5 goats if you have just some pretty reasonable distances from your neighbors. And what does that mean about Atlanta? It's sort of this old agrarian laws that are on the books from when Atlanta was a different kind of city, and it's pretty amazing that they're still on the books and that this is still a part of the city and now becoming even more a part of the city. I mean, that's pretty great. I love that.